guys, what's up? Welcome to Mondays with Maybay. I am Jeannie May, and on this week's episode, I'm going to talk about something a little bit different than what I normally talk about. I know normally I talk about like pursuing your purpose in life and, living out your passion and letting God guide you and taking that leap of faith and encouraging motivational stuff. But today I want to dig down into the roots of all of our disbelief and all of our fears and why I feel like we allow things to hold us back so much. Because this weekend I was having a beautiful conversation with someone that I love very dearly, and instead of being open-minded to this conversation and instead of accepting it for what it was and offering my feedback and like engaging, I got defensive. I instantly felt less than. I instantly felt unworthy, unloved, and like I wasn't good enough for this individual. And I'm like trying to work it out myself, right? And I'm like, why am I feeling like this? Why, like, this person makes me feel so loved. Why am I feeling less than? Why am I feeling threatened, right? And I'm having this like internal debate, and I'm listening to what they're having to say, and just this, I don't know how to explain it, okay? I'm gonna do my best here. But I had this outburst almost, and I just had to get up and walk away. Like, I didn't lash out at this person. I wasn't like, oh, you're worthless, you're not good enough, right? Like, I didn't say anything demeaning. I wasn't belittling. I literally just said, I can't be around you right now. And I got up and I removed myself from the conversation. I had like a mental reset, and then I came back not even 5 minutes later. And instead of being questioned or being belittled or mocked, they said, will you please come give me a hug and invite me back into this conversation? And I said, no, I don't want to have this conversation. And they said, well, we need to have this conversation. And I was like, why? Why do you care? Why do you care enough about me? Why, right? In my head, I'm like, is this a trick? What's going on? Are you like, what? Is this a way for you to gain my trust and then abuse me? Like, all of these things in my head, right? Because throughout my entire life, I've only ever had people get close to me to hurt me. I've only ever had people try to learn stuff about me to later use it against me, to gain the upper hand. But wholeheartedly, my significant other was literally just saying, I need to talk to you. I need for you to hear me. And I didn't want to hear them. I didn't want to hear what they were having to say. And I'm driving yesterday and I'm listening to my my audiobook, and it's like I ran into a brick wall almost, okay? Mentally, not physically. I was just driving along. But it's like I ran into this brick wall, and it was like, hey, that was trauma. And I was like, holy crap, I have a lot of past trauma. And so I'm still just driving, and I'm like, I have fear of abandonment. I have this unending feeling that I'm never going to be good enough. I'm never going to be worthy. And then I started kind of reflecting even more. The whole reason I've worked my butt off ever since I could was to prove that I would be good enough. The whole reason I went to college early, the whole reason I graduated school early, the whole reason I got a successful career, the whole reason I've made all this progress in my life is to prove that I'm good enough, is to prove that I'm worthy. And it's almost like I'm trying to prove it to myself, because I don't ever feel like I'm gonna be good enough, right? Like, it's a crazy concept, okay? So initially, after having that like realization, I went back to that conversation I had the day before with my significant other, and in that conversation, I felt unworthy. I felt less than. I felt like I was not good enough for this man in front of me. And I expressed that to him. But I expressed it in a negative way. I expressed it by being insecure about a friendship he had, or about a conversation he had with someone else, or whatever way. I don't remember exactly how it got brought up, but like, I expressed it through insecurities. This little girl deep inside of me was trying to scream out and say, "Hey, dummy, I don't feel worthy for you right now. I don't feel good enough for you right now." But instead of just saying that, I lashed out and I showed insecurity and I questioned his integrity, and I didn't know how to express myself because I didn't know what I was feeling. All I knew was the conversation didn't make me feel good. Ultimately, I felt threatened. I felt like my place in this person's life was being threatened. And that's not the case at all. He loves me so incredibly much. Like, everything he does is to show me how much he loves me, and he's literally just fantastic. But going back, like, I was so just overwhelmed with myself and with my own feelings and my own emotions that I lashed out. And instead of saying, "Hey, this is what's going on, can you please help me maybe feel secure?" I just ignored the conversation completely, and I said, "I'm not having this conversation." And I removed myself. And I had this little girl inside of me begging for the attention. I had this little girl inside of me screaming to be accepted, screaming for love. And I started thinking even more, and I was like, okay, where does this insecurity come from? Where did it stem from? Why don't I feel worthy of love? Why don't I ever feel like I'm going to be good enough for anyone or anything? Why do I have this fear of people leaving me? What is going on, okay? And I connected the dots. It all came from my childhood. We all have past traumas. We all have childhood traumas. In one way, shape, or form, we all suffer from a trauma. It doesn't have to be like a huge significant event. It could be something small, like your parents worked so much to provide for you that you felt neglected. You didn't feel like you got the love you deserved as a child, right? Or it could be something traumatic. Mine, unfortunately, was traumatic. And from the time I was a little girl until my early teen years, I suffered from physical, mental, and sexual abuse from adults that I was supposed to trust. And oftentimes my mom would leave me at home by myself for days. She would always bring new men home. And from an early age, I established that I was never going to be worthy of her love or her time. I established that women are only good for sex. I established that if my own mom doesn't want me, no one would want me. Right? As a 5-year-old, that's how I process things. And then it grew through my childhood to my early teen years. And those repeat men turned into one man. That lack of attention turned into negative attention. And it went from never having my mom and never having that love to having negative love. And it went from, we lived in California and I bounced around from all kinds of foster homes because, again, my mom was out doing drugs and just kind of running amok. And I got removed from the home and placed with other homes, but they didn't want me. And so I bounced around from foster care to foster care. I also gave them a run for their money, but in my head, no one wanted me. I was never going to be good enough. I was never worthy. My own mom didn't want me. You know, like, what is wrong with me? What is so wrong with me? That's just everything that was going through my head. And that's how I processed things. That's how I internalized it. And then it went from all this to, I finally had my mom. My mom finally wanted me. But in reality, she just wanted what I could offer. She allowed me to be physically and sexually abused. And internally, I thought that was a trade for my attention. I didn't realize it was wrong until I became an early teen, and then I realized it was wrong. And I just remember her boyfriend always telling me, like, no one would ever want me. I'm worthless. I'm never gonna be good enough. I'm ugly. I'm a waste of space. I'm a waste of a life. You know, I'm never gonna be happy. Only thing I'll ever be good for is sex, and just all of like this negative impact on a child. Imagine how much that impacted me. And I remember sorry. I remember I would go to school because that was my escape. That was my escape from reality. I would go to school and no one had any idea that I was being abused. I played it off so well. I just wanted to be normal so bad. Everyone loved me. I was so fun in elementary school and in middle school, and everyone just loved me. I was great. I was a straight A student. I was a teacher's helper, you know, like I loved school. That was my escape. And then I would come home from school and I would change into my work clothes, and I would just scrub the floors with a toothbrush, and I would do all these chores. I would do the dishes. I would do all this stuff. I would clean. I would do this. I would do this in hopes that I would get my mom's attention. You know, I would get someone's attention, and I would literally clean the house spotless and do all these chores and take care of these animals and cook dinner and have dinner ready, and then I wasn't allowed to eat dinner. I would cook the dinner, but I couldn't eat it. I just had to pick up after, and if there were scraps left, I got the scraps. And I remember there was one time I came home from school and I was deep cleaning the house and my mom's boyfriend was already home, and I just felt this pit in my stomach just sink, and I was like, I didn't clean the house yet. I was so afraid to walk into that house because I knew if I didn't have the house clean by the time he got home, I was gonna get abused. And so I walk in and it just starts immediately. You can't even clean the house. What the hell are you good for? Blah, blah, blah. And just starts from there, right? And so that lifelong, childhood-long abuse that went from having no love and seeing this negative love and seeing my mom being sexualized for attention grew from that to abuse, to sexual abuse, to emotional abuse, to mental abuse, to all of these things, till one day I couldn't take it anymore, and I tried to take my own life. And that's when I finally got someone else's attention. And then it turned into this whole cycle, and my mom and her boyfriend ended up going to jail, and I went into protective housing, and then went to foster care, and then ended up getting adopted by a family that showed me love, that showed me support, and I did not know how to accept it. So instead of trying to be normal, I lashed out at them, and I would break things, and I would steal their car and go for a joyride, and I would steal money from them all the time, and I would steal stuff and like anything possible to get that negative attention, because I felt like that was all I was good for. And it literally took my adoptive mom to sit me down and say, Jeannie, we love you. Like, I don't know why you don't think you're capable or worthy of love, but you're not a bad girl. You're incredible. You're so smart. You're so, you're so brave. You're so courageous. And like was just talking me up. And I was like, I literally looked at her and I said, I'm never going to be worthy of happiness or love. I'm not good enough. And nothing I ever do is going to be good enough. Why does it matter? And I just walked away. And then that's when it clicked in her head that I had already experienced so much trauma, so much abandonment. I was so afraid of people leaving me that I would push them away. I wouldn't give them the option. I would push them away before they could leave me. I was so afraid that I was never going to be good enough and I was never going to be worthy, that I would cause all this destruction around me so that it didn't matter. Because I already had it set in my mind, I went through all kinds of therapy. I went through all kinds of stuff, and I still suffer from night terrors from all the physical and sexual abuse I experienced. And I didn't realize how much I was still suffering from mental abuse until this weekend. And it just dawned on me. I was like, holy crap, I have a lot of trauma that I haven't healed. And I leaned on addiction. I was an alcoholic. I leaned on escapes. I purposely pushed people out of my life so that they can't abandon me. I've worked myself literally to death. I've had 2 jobs for as long as I can remember to try to prove that I'm worthy, to try to prove that I'm good enough. I go above and beyond for my son all the time because I never want him to experience anything that I experienced. I literally give him all of my attention so that he never feels like he's scarce for it. You know, he doesn't ever have to question his love or his worth for me. I do all of this stuff to try to make up for things that happened to me, and it's reflecting now in my relationships because I still don't feel worthy. I still don't feel good enough. I still feel like this man that loves me so much is going to abandon me. I still feel like he's going to find someone better than me. I still, in my head, am telling myself I'm only good for sex. I'm only good to clean the house. I'm only good for these chores. I'm never going to be happy. I'm not capable of love. Who could ever love me? And God literally brought this person into my life that just loves me so uncontrollably. My son. He showed me that I am capable of love. He showed me that I'm good enough through my son. And then again in a relationship. This is the first healthy, happy relationship I've ever been in. And instead of growing and embracing it, I'm trying to push it away. And I'm trying to question it. Because my past trauma, this little girl inside of me is stuck telling myself that I'm not capable, that I'm not worthy, that I'm only ever going to be good for sex, that my own mom didn't want me. Who the hell could want me? He wants me. My son is so excited to see me at the end of the day. My relationship is incredible. It's hard. No one ever talks about past trauma because I don't think anyone really knows how to heal it. I think the first step is embracing it and accepting that we have the trauma and maybe analyzing our day-to-day life and seeing, you know, maybe that's why I do the things I do. Maybe that's why I am the way I am. Maybe that's why I push people out of my life. You know, like, it could stem from your trauma. I don't know. I don't know everything you do or what you've gone through. But I think first and foremost, you have to embrace your demons. And until you walk in that darkness and say, okay, we need to figure this out because I'm not going anywhere. I'm tired of running. That's terrifying. That's a terrifying thought. But God is with you. I literally pulled over on the side of the road and cried for like, 30 minutes probably, because I was like, wow, what a powerful realization. Like, I've never knew how to receive love. I've never knew how to accept love. I've never knew how to accept that I am worthy. I am enough. And in that, I've learned how to forgive my mom. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, you forgave a woman that did all this to you? What the hell? Are you crazy, right? But for me, forgiveness isn't like, hey, I forget all of this stuff. Like, no, I still very much remember it. Like, I still have night terrors all the time. But for me, forgiveness isn't accepting it and forgetting it. It's accepting what happened for what it is. I have no resentment. I have no animosity. I have no hate. It was necessary for it to happen, for me to consciously evolve. Like, if you think about it, we go to the gym, right? We lift heavier weights. We don't lift the same size weight every single time we go to the gym, because if we want to grow our muscles, we need to lift heavier so that we can grow our muscles mentally, okay? I'm not saying this was ideal by any means, but this happened to me in my life so that I could evolve, so that I could grow, so that I could work as hard as I work, so that I could show my son the love I show my son, so that I mentally could grow and learn how to communicate and learn how to love and learn how to receive love and have this conversation with you guys so that it can benefit someone else also. Because I believe that we are all capable and worthy of love. I believe that we can heal our past trauma, but we can't do it alone. And God is with us, so who could be against us? I want to encourage you, okay? Hug your babies extra tight. Hug yourself extra tight. Allow yourself the chance to grow. Give yourself permission to face those demons head on. To take accountability for things that have happened to you and to just say, hey, I'm not perfect, but I'm capable of love. I'm worthy of love. I am good enough. I am worthy. I know it's a little bit deeper than normal, but I just had this realization, and I really wanted to share it because I feel like so many of us struggle with past traumas, and I am no trauma expert, okay? Let's put that on the record. I am no therapist, I'm not licensed, I don't know. I'm just telling you what I felt in my heart and what God and I talked about. So, I am here today to say I am worthy. I am enough. And so are you. I hope you got something good out of this message. If not, then thank you for at least watching and listening. And yeah, I'm gonna leave you the way I leave you every week. I hope you have an incredible week. Get out there, make a difference, show the world that beautiful smile, and let's make a change one step at a time. Okay, we got this. I believe in you.